Welcome back to the Daily Uplift Official for encouragement you can count on. I'm Dr. Tim and I'm grateful you've joined me today. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Here we focus on faith, encouragement, healing, personal growth, and practical wisdom for navigating life's challenges. Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you'll never miss a message designed to uplift and encourage you. Today, I want to talk about something that has the power to change the course of your life. Warnings, those subtle feelings, those uncomfortable realizations, those red flags we try to explain away. Those moments when something deep inside tells us that something isn't right. Yet, too often we ignore them. We convince ourselves we're overthinking. We tell ourselves things will get better. We hope the problem will disappear on its own. And many times we end up paying the price because we ignore what we knew all along. Today's message is titled, Don't Ignore the Warnings. Let's get started. One of the greatest gifts God has given us is the ability to recognize danger before disaster arrives. Think about that. Most major problems didn't appear overnight. Most crises did not happen without warning. Most heartbreaks didn't come completely out of nowhere. Most failures leave clues. Most mistakes leave signs. Most storms send signals before they arrive. The challenge isn't the warnings are apt, it's the warnings are often inconvenient. Warnings force us to face truths we'd rather avoid. Warnings require action. Warnings require change. Warnings require courage. And sometimes we rather stay comfortable than confront reality. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to ignore something you don't want to hear? Maybe a relationship starts showing signs of toxicity. Maybe a friendship becomes one-sided. Maybe a business decision feels wrong. Maybe your health starts sending signals. Maybe your stress level becomes overwhelming. Maybe your spirit feels unsettled. The warnings are there, but because acknowledging them would require action, we ignore them. One of the most dangerous phrases in life is, it's probably nothing. Sometimes it is nothing, but sometimes it's everything. The problem with warnings is they the problems with warnings is that they rarely scream. Let me clear that up. The problem with warnings is that they rarely scream. They usually whisper. At first, the signs are subtle, a feeling, a concern, a pattern, a repeated issue, a conversation you keep avoiding, a truth that you don't want to face. And because the warning isn't dramatic, we dismiss it until eventually the whisper becomes a problem we can no longer ignore. Imagine driving a car. If the warning light appears on the dashboard, you have a choice. You can investigate it or you can ignore it. Ignoring the warning doesn't make the problem disappear. It simply gives the problem more time to grow. Life works the same way. Some problems become large because when ignored, minor issues become major crises when neglected. And often the pain we experience isn't from the warning itself, it's from ignoring the warning. Many people are living with consequences that started as cautions, a financial problem that started as overspending, a health issue that started as a symptom, a broken relationship that started as poor communication, a career setback that started as complacency, a spiritual struggle that started as neglect. The warning came first. The consequence came later. One reason we ignore warnings is because we become emotionally attached. Sometimes we know something isn't healthy, but we're attached to it. We know the relationship is draining us, but we're attached. We know the habit is hurting us, but we're attached. We know the environment is limiting us, but we're attached. And the attachment can make us blind. It can cause us to defend what is damaging us. It can cause us to tolerate what is hurting us. It can cause us to remain where we've outgrown. That's why wisdom requires honesty. You have to be willing to ask difficult questions. Why am I ignoring? Or what am I ignoring? What truth am I avoiding? What pattern keeps repeating itself? What warning signs have I dismissed? Those questions can change your life because awareness is the first step toward transformation. The truth is that your intuition, your experience, and your faith often work together to protect you. Not every uncomfortable feeling is fear. Sometimes it's discernment. Not every hesitation is weakness. Sometimes it's wisdom. Not every warning is negativity. Sometimes it's protection. One of the greatest mistakes people make is confusing discernment with doubt. Discernment doesn't tell you to stop growing. Discernment tells you to pay attention. Discernment says, look closer. Discernment says, something isn't right. Discernment says, proceed carefully. And learning to recognize that voice can save you years of unnecessary pain. Let's talk about relationships for a moment. How many people ignore warning signs because they wanted something to work? The disrespect was there, the inconsistency was there, the manipulation was there, the dishonesty was there, the lack of effort was there. But because they wanted the relationship to succeed, they ignored the evidence. Sometimes we become focused on potential that we ignore reality. We fall in love with someone who could become while ignoring who they are right now. Don't ignore reality. Hope is important, but wisdom is essential. The same principle applies to goals and dreams. Sometimes we receive warnings that we're approaching success in unhealthy ways. We sacrifice our health. We sacrifice our peace. We sacrifice our relationships. We sacrifice our values. And eventually we discover that achieving a goal isn't worth losing ourselves in the process. Warnings aren't always telling you to quit. Sometimes they're telling you to adjust. Sometimes they're telling you to slow down. Sometimes they're telling you to rest. Sometimes they're telling you to rethink your approach. A wise person listens. A foolish person assumes they know better. Life has a way of humbling people who ignore warning signs. The good news is that wisdom is available to everyone willing to pay attention. You don't have to repeat the same mistakes. You don't have to keep learning the same lessons. You don't have to keep ignoring what you've already seen. Growth begins when honesty replaces denial. Growth begins when awareness replaces avoidance. Growth begins when we stop making excuses and start making changes. Maybe the warning in your life right now isn't dramatic. Maybe it's small. It's a small voice reminding you to take better care of yourself. Maybe it's a relationship that needs attention. Maybe it's a habit that needs to change. Maybe it's a dream you've been neglecting. Maybe it's a boundary you've been avoid or afraid to set. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, don't ignore it. The longer you ignore warnings, the louder life often has to become. But when we listen early, we often avoid greater pain later. Think about that. A small correction today can prevent a major crisis tomorrow. A different conversation today can prevent a broken relationship tomorrow. A healthy decision today can prevent regret tomorrow. A wise choice today can change your future. That's the power of paying attention. The people who thrive in life aren't necessarily the smartest. They're often the most aware. They pay attention. They learn. They adapt. They listen. They grow. And because of that, they avoid many problems that others walk directly into. Don't let pride keep you from listening. Don't let comfort keep you from changing. And don't deny keeping you from seeing what is right there in front of you. Sometimes the warning is actually a blessing. Sometimes discomfort is protection. Sometimes the interruption is guidance. Sometimes the closed door is mercy. Sometimes the warning is God trying to save you from unnecessary pain. Don't ignore it. Listen, learn, adjust, trust God, because wisdom is not just knowing what to do, wisdom is actually doing it. As we close today's message, I want to leave you with this thought. The warnings you ignore today are often the problems you face tomorrow. Pay attention. Trust your discernment. Set wisdom. Seek wisdom. And don't be afraid to make the changes that need to be made. The sooner you listen, the sooner you can move toward the life God is calling you to live. Thank you for spending this time with me here on the Daily Uplift Official. For encouragement you can count on. If this message encouraged you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who may need this reminder today. Leave a comment below and tell us about a warning sign that taught you an important lesson. Until the next time, keep your faith strong, keep moving forward, and remember, don't ignore the warning signs. I'm Dr. Tim, and this is the Daily Uplift Official. For encouragement you can count on. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.